So Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade has been released for the Nintendo Switch 2, and it looks like it's actually been sold out. Now, I know it's been out for a week or so, maybe not a week. I don't know. It's been out for, it just didn't come out yesterday. But I want to take a little bit of time to see what it was going to do before I kind of made this video. And I'm actually surprised that, many YouTube channels where people went out to buy the game, it was sold out. So that really shows, the juice that game has and how many people were waiting for it to come out. And what really strikes me about the game is that it's a game key card, which I think the fact that it's been selling out in stores really flies in the face of, these people like, I'll never buy a game key card, Switch 2 sucks, game key cards. I think when it really comes down to it, it completely destroys the myth that people aren't going to buy a game because it's on a game key card. If it's a great game and people want to play it, they're going to buy it. And shockingly, a lot of these collectors are buying the physical version of the game because having at least something, the case and the card itself, even though the game has to be downloaded, is pretty much better than nothing. I'm going to be perfectly honest here with my opinion. The pretentious gamers are going to buy the game key card just so they can get that half-inch sliver of game binder to put in their shelves so they can go on YouTube and say, look at my big collection. There's a whole psychological thing to this collecting side of it. Look at me, look at me. So you're not really going to stop these guys from buying the game key card because they want to get something to put in their collection that they can put in the shelf, and they want to have the game too. But it just goes to show you what a great game it is. Not my kind of game. I was actually going to buy it, but when the demo came out, I played it. I'm like, I like it better than a regular RPG. I'm not an RPG guy at all. It does have the action to it. Looks phenomenal. Locked 30 frames a second. I played through the entire demo, and I think it was a little over an hour. And I grabbed everything I could, and I was into it, but it wasn't something that I think it would sustain the entertainment value for me. So the demo was good enough for me to see the game, see what it was, and I will say it's a great game, just not for me. But the game is selling really well, but that's not the point of what I want to talk about here. What I want to talk about here is system selling games. I was wondering if this was going to be a system selling game because the game is selling out, but I don't feel it's a system selling game. There probably are a handful of people that are buying the game or buying a Switch 2 to play the game, but I don't think it's anything that's going to make a difference as far as a system selling game, which is one of the big knocks of the Switch 2, which is really at this point one of the reasons people say the Switch is failing, which is completely ridiculous to me, because sales alone show that the Switch 2 isn't selling. In the first 7 months of release, it's the fastest, best-selling console of all time. So to say it's a failure is ridiculous, and that's just the haters and the people don't like Nintendo for whatever reason, trying to come up with any reason they can. And since we don't have a system-selling game, the Switch 2 is failing. I don't think that's true, but it is odd because normally a system has that killer app, the one that sells systems. So, are we ever going to get a system selling game? And am I wrong? Is Final Fantasy a system selling game? I'm curious to anybody watching this video. Am I wrong? Is Final Fantasy a system selling game? I say it isn't. And when are we going to get a system selling game? That's the question. What is going to be that system selling game? Final Fantasy VII is selling out, but I don't feel it's a system selling game. Am I wrong? Are people buying systems? And I guess we will see in a month or two down the road to see what the Switch sales are, the week of this release or the month of the release of the game. But is there ever going to be a system selling game? That is a knock, and I agree that the Switch 2 doesn't have one. So what do you think? I'm really curious what people think about, A, is there a system selling game out there? B, is Final Fantasy that game? And I know I'm completely, avoiding the elephant in the room here of Mario Kart World, because Mario Kart World is, sold close to 1-to-1 or is selling close to 1-to-1. So let's talk about Mario Kart World in tomorrow's edition of Switch 2 News Direct. Peace.